to that show where matters that matter to you are discussed. This is My Two Cents on AETV Live, and I have the great honor to be starting out this episode. My name is Success Caminus. I don't do this alone as usual. I have the beautiful ladies here that do this with me on a regular. I'm just going to allow them introduce themselves from my far left.
Hello everyone, welcome to My Two Cents. It's Mary Emmanuel.
You're welcome to My Two Cents. The name is Gabriel Egu.
My name is Magdalene Tugu. Of course, you can call me Maggie, and this is My Two Cents. You're welcome.
We also have a special guest. She has been here once before, but she was so insightful we had to have her back on the show again. In the person of Mrs. Bumi Oyebadejo. Glad to have you back on the show now.
Thank you, ladies.
Back.
It's an honor to be your mix.
Okay, so Mary, take us away.
Okay, let's go away, right? Let's go to the far land abroad. Anyways, there's this thing that people always say, like, the land is greener on the other side. Now, this is an example.
Water.
Sorry?
Because of the pour water.
Oh, well, I'll give you reasons why they say that, right?
Okay.
So people always say this because if you want to compare the life in Nigeria, to be frank, it's not as sweet as it's supposed to be. Do you get? Compared to the life abroad.
Okay.
So this example is what people used to say, and truthfully, it has proven to be correct in so many ways, especially in the educational sector, right? Now we see that, the educational system abroad is top notch. No, this is not me running down my country, but this is me saying it as it is. Now, a lot of parents, folks, families send their parents abroad to go and study now. And today's story will be centered about a certain man who sent his children to Canada. I'm not going to tell you. Let's take a look at the clip. Okay, so this particular man actually sent two of his kids to Canada to study. But when he went to visit them, it was rather received in a very, very cold and cruel way. Now, this has brought us to this question. Ladies, what do you think is responsible for the disconnect between this man and his children? What could it be?
Yes. Number one thing I think I've seen here is, first and foremost, maybe there's a little bit of distance. Maybe, these children are used to living alone on their own and they've already become so independent so early. So maybe that's part of the disconnect.
Independent so early?
Yes.
They sent them abroad to study. That's
right. That's what I'm saying.
That's a form of independence, but it's not like they decided to go hustle on their own and send themselves.
Yeah, that's what I meant by independence was not that they were fending for themselves, but that they live away from their parents so early. That's what I mean. So they're living on their own, taking care of many things by themselves, not under the watch of their parents. That's a form of independence. I'm not talking about financial.
I agree that it's a form of independence, but then when you say so early, it's 18 early.
It's early.
So what happened was that two of his kids were sent to Canada, and when he got there, his daughter she was ordering off to go and see her boyfriend outside or something. And then her father came in and she's like, "Hey, let him just chill. She's coming."
So the reality is, let me tell you what I'm going to say. Yes, we don't know what age she went there. They are just telling us at what age the man came to see her.
Okay.
So this could
And the standard of education that they're in. Is it high school? Is it college?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know of a family that send their children as early secondary school, primary school. Most of the children are living there on their own. So maybe they had an aunt, maybe they had someone that was just coming occasionally to make sure that everything is okay because they're in boarding school.
True.
So I'm just saying that they've gained independence early. This is not about financial independence. So that could be some sort of disconnect. Yeah. So it's like, I'm on my own now. I'm an adult in my own eyes. So I don't need anything from you per se. I don't need to accord any, I don't know how to explain it basically.
Yeah.
But I think the disconnect must have come from there. But if you're talking about what the father saw that felt disrespectful was the fact that, the daughter said, I want to go to my boyfriend, I want to do this. I think that comes from
influence.
I don't think it's influence.
Cultural difference.
I think it's cultural difference.
There's freedom out there, right?
Yes. First of all, I'm going to say that was wrong. you know where you're coming from, and there's a level of expectation. This man has paid the bills to bring you this kind of life.
I'm saying
the best you can do is to accord him that honor, accord him that respect. So I think this wasn't right. And of course, you can tell that he didn't sit well with the man. For him to plan a month's visit and eventually have to cut it short and say, my last child that is here, that is finished to graduate, he's not coming here.
I'm so happy that Mrs. Badejo is here, because I mean she has had her children abroad, So I'm waiting. We'll all have our turns, and then she will just be the one to nail everything.
The icing in the cake.
Yeah.
So Nigerian parents, being as interesting as they can be, of course, would have gone there with all the food stuff, all the expectations, of course. And then by the time he gets there, he realizes that, the teenagers he probably sent to school there are now have understood that even though I am 18 or in my 20s, I am not an adult. In this society, things are done differently. I don't have to wait for anybody to tell me when to go out, when not to go out, what to wear. They understand that the parent as an individual does not have some kind of controlling power over the child. That is our African thing. And that is that thing that is missing between the Western world and what we have here. So I think that is where the disconnect is coming from.
I think for me, the disconnect is basically the upbringing, how they actually groomed the children from the start. Because I know a lot of people that whom their children are actually abroad, but the respect is still there. The abroad, whatever it is,
it's not affecting
it did not. Daddy is daddy. Daddy is talking. They are keeping quiet. They are speaking language. I think it's the upbringing. That's basically it for me. Like, it could be this kind of father that wasn't never close to his children when they were growing up. Like this type of dad that goes to work and just come back, hi dad, and then everybody goes to sleep and all that. How it's gonna get worse when they go out of Nigeria. That's just the truth.
I was gonna say that what I see is that this father and children were not close. That's what I'm seeing here. Because I think if we were even close, your daughter wants to stick around and say, daddy,
you're coming from a very family. But as interesting,
maybe he was so strict, he was such a disciplinarian, there was a lot of gap between him and his kids from the start.
Are you ladies aware that one of the reasons a number of Nigerians I know actually avoid sending their children to attend high school abroad is because they say they would lose them. They begin to have this sense of freedom and maturity at that age.
Okay, so I feel we should all
connect from the onset.
That is why
we should hold this thought before we go too far into the conversation, because I really want somebody who has, none of us have children in the abroad. So that's the reason Mrs. Badejo is here, and I really want to hear you speak about this. What do you think is the reason for the disconnect? I'm going to just throw something in as well. Do you feel that it's because they never had any relationship to begin with, or would you say that the distance is a factor or is a reason they've grown apart?
Well, first of all, we have not even considered the fact that maybe the children didn't want to go out of the country in the first place. Maybe the father just said it's a better option for you. Go there. You understand? So there's an issue there which we are not privy to. Okay, and then secondly, like you rightly mentioned, God helped us. My daughter was in Ukraine until the war started, and she was there for 2 years. She left when she was going to be 17. And actually, when she was leaving, she was scared. The daddy wanted to go with her, but circumstances prevailed and he couldn't go with her. So she had to go unaccompanied.
Wow.
She had to go unaccompanied. So we were tracing her with phone calls, tracing the flights, working with the flight company. Where is she now? Eventually she got there, and before she got there, we had somebody there going to pick her from the airport. The agent had arranged for someone and all of that. So at first it was difficult, but after a while she got into the system. She loved the place actually, and we tried to communicate with her every day. But before she left, we had a relationship. Of course, she was closer to her dad. Her dad is more... Of course, I'm a Nigerian mother. Her dad is more, more open, more embracing. So we kept the relationship, and I wouldn't say that she's the same person. Definitely she has changed.
Okay.
She has grown older. All the while she was there, she was making decisions for herself. She was shopping for herself.
True.
Of course, when she posts some things on social media and I get to see her say, this our dressing is a bit, and she would like, Mommy, there is nothing wrong with it. It's not that. But of course, I'm conservative and I expect that to an extent, you should show a little bit of that conservation. But all in all, we did not have to worry too much about who she was becoming. And then one thing that helped was that while she was here, we always made sure that we put God first as a family. When it was time to go to church, we went, and we were always going with the kids. It may not be convenient for a long time, not a long time really, but for like a year or so, I was alone with the children. My husband was not living with us in Lagos. He was working elsewhere. But I made sure we always went to church. I had to take transport, because I knew that it was in that their future was secure. Now she has left. Even if I shout and scream down in Nigeria, she's going to do what she's going to do. But that upbringing has put some level of fear in her. So when she was there, she also associated with the church community. She joined the church. She made friends there. So, and of course, we were very, don't go out too much, pay in your hostel, and don't gallivant, this and that and that. Anywhere you are going, is, if she's not in church, she's in the hostel. If she's not in a hostel, she's at the mall. So, yes. But in all of this, she was still becoming her own person. She was still becoming her own person. Her dressing, sometimes I disagree. But, she will like, Mommy, what am I wearing this one with? If you tell me to wear this one now, you tell me I should wear jacket. If I'm not wearing this cloth without jacket, I cannot wear it. I'll say, okay, leave it.
So aside the fashion, you could basically predict her lifestyle and what she was going to do next.
Well, I left a lot of room for surprises because I didn't want to be caught unawares and begin to blame myself or begin to blame God and say, God, why? I'm serving you. And all. I left a lot of room for surprise. So anything she was going to throw at me, I wanted to be able to be in a position to still embrace who she was and still support whatever decision she has made and still be able to, because even if she makes the greatest mistake, you can't leave her there. You can't leave her and say, it's your cross, bear it. She's in that place. I tell her, this is not a place I can enter, bus and come. Before I even apply for the visa self, before you do visa, do tickets. You understand? So this is not a place I can jump into the bus and say, something is wrong with my daughter. When there was a time she was really feeling sick. I called her and she was crying. I like to do video. I said, let me see. I switched on the video button and she turned it off. She declined. I said, I want to see you. And I saw that she was crying. She was in pain. What is wrong with you? Oh, my tummy hurts. What have you taken? Nothing. Who is with you? My friends are with me. Okay. Tell one of them to get you ibuprofen, get ice pack. From there, we were able to tell, after a few minutes, she was feeling better. She was feeling better. So it's yes, thank God. Thank God for that. So we also try to speak with her every day. Every day we try to hear her voice. We try to, of course, she's growing into a young adult. There are things she wants to do, but many times she comes to say, Mommy, I want to make my hair. I'll say, okay, what kind of hair are you making? She will show me pictures. I'll say, this is too extravagant. Whatever you do, be moderate. Mommy, I want to fix my nails. She will send me nails. These nails is too long now. Cut it short. Mommy, there's nothing wrong with it. But in all of this, I was appreciating the fact that she was becoming her own person. She wasn't like me, but just let me conclude with this. What I don't really agree with, it's true, children can leave home, find they have freedom, nobody to caution you, and they can tell you they're somewhere and they are doing something else.
True.
Absolutely.
But what I didn't expect the father to do was up and leave when he saw that things were not the way he wanted. I would have expected him to stay. You didn't have to go there and start reprimanding and say, this is, just stay and observe their lifestyle and see how you can begin to come in and win back your children. They are your children.
Yeah.
You can't just run back home and say, I'm not going to allow this one. Maybe that last child's destiny is abroad and you want to cut the child because of the mistakes you think these ones are making. I expected him to wait with them, live with them for a bit, understand what is happening. Of course, there may be this stance of aggression. What are you doing here? I'm an adult now. This is my life. And of course, Western countries, they encourage independence.
Yeah, right.
But just stay and emphasize the love you have for them so that whatever, they will always come home.
Okay.
I think she covered everything, right?
Yeah.
There's no need to ask these questions anymore because the answer are already staring at us at the face.
Yes. I really enjoyed talking about this though.